Hello folks, it's Matt again with my second and last video for this weekend. It's going to be on the Prog band Camel. I almost did Camel last month when I did my Caravan show, but it's okay. I saved it for now and I'm ready. What I really recommend, if you can find it, is the Airborne box set. You know, the DMCA in the Decade Years of 73 to 84 gives you all the studio albums, a ton of live material, videos, and then on Blu-ray you get some of the albums in surround sound. You get Camel, Mirage, Snow Goose, Moon Madness, and Nude, which are the ones you want, really. But I'm not going to get to this yet because this box set, like a lot of box sets, does not reproduce the album covers. Well, it does in the book because I'm going to be using some of these album covers. But I also just happen to have, these old SHM CDs. So that's what I'm going to be showing you for the first part of the 70s anyway. Their first album is called Camel. It came out in 1973. It's a good record. It's one of their better albums, but they would get better after this. But this would still be in my top 5 or 6 Camel albums, I think. Prog was in its heyday at this time, early 70s going into mid 70s. And so this was just one more band coming out of England. But it's solid. I mean, I like most of the stuff on here. I just don't give it top marks because they got better. Mirage came out in 74. This could be their best record. I mean, cut for cut, there's nothing weak on here. When we talk about progressive rock bands in the 70s, like Caravan, like Camel, or Van der Graaf Generator, we're talking about great prog bands that they did not play on U.S. radio. I don't know if they played this stuff in the UK or in Europe, but that's why it was always like an exotic find for me when I would stumble upon these bands that none of my friends were telling me about, and I wasn't hearing it, out at parties or in restaurants or anywhere. I had to read about stuff like this. So bands like this are one of the reasons I really got into prog for a while. Punk too, any great rock music which wasn't played a lot on the radio or it wasn't discussed amongst people I knew, I felt like I had, I was privy to something that they didn't know about. So anyways, Mirage, that's a classic Camel album. And I can't even read this, but yes I can. The White Rider, that's great. Lady Fantasy is their big number. But really, the whole thing is good. The whole thing is great. So that's 74. Here's an SACD of Snow Goose. Snow Goose is an instrumental album, which is great because to me, the best passages of Camel material is the stuff that doesn't have vocals. This was the soundtrack to a movie or a made-for-TV movie. I've never seen it, but it comes from a novel, I want to say too. But this is really good stuff, and it's great just to put on like in the background. If you made a case for this being their best album, I wouldn't argue. I mean, it's virtually on the same level as Mirage, So this, like I said, is an SACD. I can't play this on a CD player, but it's a wonderful album when I do play it. And 76 was Moon Madness, another 5-star classic to me. I've probably played Moon Madness in my life more than I played Snow Goose. Probably second only to Mirage. There's great long sweeping passages of instrumental virtuosity here where there's no vocals, and that's what I'm telling you. That's what I like about Camel. All right, so this is 76. That triptych of albums, Mirage, Snow Goose, and Move Madness, I think represent the peak of the band. I don't think they were ever better than that, you know. Plus, you know, like a lot of prog bands, you know, the personnel changed, right? I mean, it wasn't always, well, I guess Andy is always there, but you know, later on you had, you know, like Richard Sinclair's in the band, and a lot of prog bands had that issue, you know, going right back to King Crimson, where they couldn't maintain, I guess they just weren't making enough money to make it feasible for the band members to want to stay. But anyways, this is another classic. What did I say? That was 76. Rain Dances is 77. This is another essay? Yeah, this is another essay CD. This is pretty good. It's not on the level of the previous three records, but it's strong. I mean, it's strong like the first album, Camel, is strong. By the late 70s, you know, you began to see, well, after this year, because 77 was still a pretty good year, a lot of the major prog bands were starting to not put out as strong a material as they had. The movement, or whatever you want to call it, that post-psych thing to come out of Europe and mostly England, was kind of dying down. People say, oh, punk killed prog. Not really. I mean, bands like Genesis and Yes were still selling more than ever at that time. But I mean, you know, you definitely had bands like Camel, Caravan too, going for a more commercial vibe. Well, Genesis too, Gentle Giant. I mean, you know, they wanted to sell records and not just be, you know, like cult artists or whatever. Okay, so those are the Camel discs I have from the 70s. I now need to return or go for the first time to the Airborne box to show you the rest of the albums. This is the book that comes with it. Breathless, that's the album cover for Breathless. That came out in 1978. It's about as good as Rain Dances. You know, it's another solid record. Again, not, you know, on the level of the trio from the mid 70s, but still solid. I mean, Camel, I mean, put it this way, by 1978, well, Caravan didn't even make an album in the late 70s. But Caravan also started years before Camel, so they have that, you know, they had that added few years to be great before Camel. In 79, it's I Can See Your House From Here. It's, now, I got this disc somewhere, but I couldn't find it. It's this one right here. It's got Ice on there, which is a really cool instrumental, but for the most part, it is the weakest album I'm going to show you today. All right? It's just okay. I definitely don't play it as much as I play everything else. But as with so many albums that I tell you guys about, there are people who like it, right? It's called I Can See Your House From Here, and it's got this, you know, astronaut on a cross like Jesus. But anyway, I don't recommend that one, but it is going to be on my show today because I'm not going to skip it. All right. There wasn't a studio album in 80. We're going to Nude now in 81. This is another great one. Now, if I was going to make, that's it right there. If I was going to make move my phone. If I was going to make a list of great prog albums from the 80s, Nude would definitely make my list. It would make my top 10, I think. It's about a Japanese soldier in World War II who hid out on an island, didn't know that the war was over. It's a true story. And my phone still looks tilted. Anyway, didn't know the war was over, or I think the people on the island tried to get him to surrender. He wouldn't do it. So the Japanese military or government had to go in there and take him out. And this was years later, and he went back and, you know, lived the rest of his life in Japan, and he was like a national hero. But That's what Nude is about, you know. So it's like a concept album, and it's real solid. It's the best album that they had made, probably. Well, in my estimation, probably since Moon Madness. You know, I mean, if you like Rain Dances and Breathless as much as Nude, that's fine too. This box set goes through 84, but I think I want to stop here at Nude because I think that's the last really great one. And I think if you just concentrate on Camel from 73 to 81, it's mostly hit, you know, except for the I Can See Your House from Here video. I want to pause this for a second and show you another thing, live Camel show that I think is interesting. So yeah, this is a performance. I want to say it's in 2018. Andy Latimer, I think, was the sole surviving member. Let me see. Does it say who's in the band here? No, it doesn't. Anyway, they're doing the entire Moon Madness album and then other songs too. Yeah. So it's filmed well. It's in surround. It's on a Blu-ray. It's really a great show. Like I said, there's other video on the Airborne box set, but I've played this one the most. You know, I don't know why they didn't do, you know, like a Snow Goose Blu-ray or a Mirage Blu-ray, but this was a really cool little artifact that I picked up in the last few years. So yeah, Camel. I kind of already said my thoughts on them. What I would hope to do with these prog videos of bands that weren't played on the radio is to turn somebody on to at least picking up like a Camel album, or you know, if you're not into buying physical media anymore, just, you know, checking them out on Spotify or whatever, assuming that they're on Spotify. I don't know. Or, you know, YouTube, where I'm sure you're watching this. So, yeah, Camel, one of the great 70s progressive rock bands, not to receive widespread acclaim, along with Caravan, you know. Not part of any scene, you know, they weren't Canterbury or anything like that. But their records are strong. And, I mean, I even have like ones that are more modern. I mean, here's Rajaz and you know, A Nod and a Wink. They're pretty good. But yeah, I'm definitely going to say that their stuff through Nude is what you want. All right, so okay, this is a real short video because again, I tend to blow through these things and I don't like discuss songs as much, especially when I can't read them on these CDs. But yeah, one of the great bands, definitely gets the Matt seal of approval, and this will be my Prog video for the month. Until next time.